Hello and welcome to Podfluxxx episode 35, take 2. Rick, we've got a storm rolling in here in New York, so my connection might be a little shitty here, a little shitty there. So we're gonna bear with each other here and go as much as we can without this thing getting ridiculous. But this weekend, Ring of Honor Final Battle 2023. I didn't watch it. I kept up with a few clips on Twitter. What'd you see? What did you hear about? What'd you think? What'd you like? What'd you hate?
Well, I saw that they didn't have Eddie Kingston, the world champion, booked until like a very last minute type situation, which is ridiculous to hear. And then, I heard about the match with FTR and the Blackpool Combat Club or whatever, which was a good match, but would have been nice to have known about, maybe a month out. You could set that up somehow. Also,
Right.
probably should have set up a serious contender for Eddie, considering that they have an entire full roster of wrestlers that only wrestle on Ring of Honor. Would have been nice to see, you know, that Final Battle was usually where we switched the Ring of Honor World Title to like the next, you know, uh, kind of like the face of what Ring of Honor was going to start to be for the next year. Usually in the Manhattan Center in New York or Hammerstein
Right.
Ballroom or whatever was was one of our bigger events, uh, kind of like a Starcade or something for us for a long time. So, that just, obviously it's getting away from, I guess TK is not focused on it as much. I mean, how do you announce a pay-per-view and then not have any, high profile title matches on there? I know he's doing his fake ass G1 tournament right now, which was ridiculous. If you're trying to build up Final Battle as what it was, which was our biggest event of the year when Ring of Honor, when I was in Ring of Honor, at least, uh, I just don't understand how so many people could be there, wrestlers, and not maybe, suggest that or bring that up, or, it's just like another throwaway event, really for like just internet fans. It's pretty bad.
I think it's crazy that they tried to sell a Ring of Honor pay-per-view to Ring of Honor fans with a women's world title match as the main event.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Uh, and I know how that sounds, but you know, uh, women's wrestling isn't synonymous with Ring of Honor.
Right.
It's not
Absolutely.
part of Ring of Honor's
Right.
makeup or genetic
Right.
code.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And I think to try and move the pay per view based on Athena versus Billy Starks uh, was a wild decision to try and make. The other thing that came out of, well, a couple of things came out of this. Did you see any clips from the Vikingo and Black Taurus match?
No, but I would imagine it was silly lucha stuff, right? Uh, not Vikingo, the other one, Taurus or whatever.
Let
He's
me
really
let
good.
me
So
let me
no,
let
I
me
didn't see
let
any
me paint a
matches.
picture for you here.
Oh God.
Okay,
Yes.
Taurus is on the floor.
Okay.
Vikingo hits the far ropes, comes back,
Yes.
falls back into the ring, hits the far rope, comes back, jumps up onto the top rope, loses his balance again, falls back into the ring, and then does a springboard up onto the top rope, and then his dive onto Taurus, who's now been on the floor for a lifetime, standing there like this. And to me, the saddest part about that is instead of throwing garbage and booing him out of the building, which would
Yes.
have been the 110% appropriate response, the crowd still popped on the dive, which pisses me off to no end.
Right. Well, it's that way now because they've gone out
Also,
and just they've gone out and expressed to the fans that this is just one big lucha performance and we're supposed to like the end result of whatever it is that we were attempting to do. So,
no matter what.
right. Yeah.
Also, did you see the online controversy and outrage coming out of the FTR match?
No, what
Where
happened there?
apparently there was a woman in the front row on her cell phone, and Dax went over and was like, "Hey, watch the fucking show." And the internet community of pussified wrestling fans is very, very upset with Dax Harwood for that. Which to me, it's kind of like a wrestling personality. Like that's what he should be doing. Where you at?
Well, my whole thing would be that if he really wanted to get her attention, he should have just did it the right way and did something interesting to get her off her phone. I know when we were all training, a lot of times, that was brought up, like to be constantly in motion and to try to have movement, not necessarily moves, to keep people in tuned because it is so easy to do that. But yes, I mean, everyone's just a pussy about, being mean to everybody, you know, and if he's a heel, then, it's kind of like a, like what he's supposed to be doing type thing. If he's a face, I mean, I don't know. It's just stupid. It's really just nothing, but of course everyone's going to make a big deal about it. Uh, I look at it more like he shouldn't have drawn attention to that one person. He should have, worked harder in the ring to get her attention. If that's the case, like go out and brawl out right in front of her or clothesline a guy right over, the rail in front of her or something and did something about it. But yeah, it just shows how these internet wrestling nerds are just a bunch of crybabies and how they can just make something out of absolutely nothing stupid,
I still maintain that she's the only person in the building who would have had a plausible excuse for not moving out of the way of Vikingo's dive. But anyway, the real big news is, I don't know if you've heard this or not, but Tony Khan has announced that there will be a Ring of Honor Women's Television Championship. So we're
I did
adding
not.
another belt to the fold in the AEW Ring of Honor banner.
You got to be kidding me. What?
Nope.
what is his obsession with making everybody a champion? Like this guy is the king of participation awards. You know, like someone's got to do the meme of Oprah, you get a car, you get a car, you know, like and do
Yeah.
the whole Tony, you get a belt, you get a belt, you know, like make sure everyone brings your belts to TV because you know we're gonna have a big circle jerk of champions over here and just jizz all over me. Uh, I don't.
I,
What's the point? They don't have TV. Why is this a thing? You know, when is Tony going to get tired of giving everyone a salary for doing, you know, 1 or 3 matches, you know, a quarter here? If that's the case, just, you know, I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. He doesn't know how to make the belts mean anything, obviously, because if Eddie Kingston's got to do a promo where he's like, hey, I'm the world champion. It's Final Battle. It's only he knows better. He knows what Final Battle was all about. You know, he was not on many of them or on a few of them, you know, back when, you know, it was a little harder to get into Ring of Honor and not just show up and have your gear type situation like it is now. You know, and it's absurd. Like no one's making it mean something, you know. Brian should know better. He should be saying something. Like, why aren't these guys saying like, hey man, this is too much, scale back a little bit? Like they even got 6-man belts now, right? So like now
yeah,
there's a
they had
tag
six
team.
man belts a while back though. Like Tony didn't make the Ring of Honor 6-man belts.
Yeah, but he's made them mean nothing, is what I'm getting at.
Yes. Well, he's
Yeah.
made
So like,
everything mean nothing.
yeah, exactly. Like it's great that they have them. I get why they have them, but you got to make them mean something. I mean, I know the 6-man would be the bottom of the barrel because I remember when like what was it, Dusty and the Road Warriors had them for like a short time in the NWA. Like you didn't really see them that much. It's like now you're going to
Yeah.
have a women's TV title. That's like having a women's Western States Heritage Championship. You know, have you got nice gear / hair / cool haircut championship, you know, and just let everyone win one. This is fucking stupid. Like he's killed Ring of Honor
I
like he's
wonder
trying to kill AEW.
if anybody's convinced him that he's got to pay the champions more money. But he just keeps making belts and not realizing that he's just shortchanging himself out of money.
uh, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. The next thing I'd like to talk about, since we're on the topic, is Tony Khan's Twitter. Have you been keeping up with Tony Khan's Twitter?
I don't follow him, but on Twitter, because Twitter's all fucked up, I get all his stuff for some reason. So like
Right.
I rarely go on it because I get a bunch of random stuff I don't even follow or like or have any interest in. So I've been noticing you know, he likes to thank everybody, you know, and he
Loves it.
thanks everyone for watching all 17 shows that he books badly. So I don't know. No, I haven't been following any of his shenanigans as far as interaction. I just noticed like this guy gets on every night after every single show and thanks everybody for watching, which is annoying.
Well, basically, he went on the other day and he took a page out of the Vince McMahon playbook where he was like, I'm just a poor billionaire and everybody's out to get us and we're the underdog and the little guy and everybody's against us. And I mean, we all know the truth there.
Yeah.
But then Disco Inferno tweeted at Tony Khan that the
Oh,
whole company needs a reset.
okay.
And then Tony Khan, you know how well he takes constructive criticism,
Of course.
lost his shit, called Disco like a third-rate parasite, and now though there's Disco Inferno, Tony Khan beef on Twitter. I know we've talked about it before, but really at this point, does Tony Khan need to be in control of his own Twitter account?
No. First off, with all the stuff he has going on, I don't know how he finds time to even, write a sentence, let alone thank and get in arguments with multiple people that criticize him. You know, Vince McMahon doesn't get on there. If you're trying to measure up to that level, that not he shouldn't be worrying about that. No, he shouldn't be on there. He certainly shouldn't be taking shots at guys that have broken their backs for wrestling in the ring when he's a privileged individual that just got money, and now he's decided to jump into our business and decide to be surround himself with a bunch of yes men and yes women where everything's great, everyone gets a belt, we're all champions, let's all be owners and CEOs and so forth. And it's just bad. I mean, Disco's partially right, sure. It would be nice if they did some sort of reset. I wouldn't do it how they tried to do it in WCW, where they stripped the belts. Yeah, that was just stupid. But you got to gradually evolve the show into what you eventually want it to become. So instead of having comedy style segments and wrestlers, you start to slowly weed them out and start putting more competitive matches, and start maybe from the top two. I would start some serious storylines that are gonna maybe pay off in 3 to 6 months. Start writing into that, but it doesn't need to be like a hard reset where everyone's stripped and we're starting all over, because that's just stupid and insulting to everybody. But there definitely needs to be some kind of reset of how the show is happening and who's doing what. So I mean, obviously everybody knows that the numbers are declining, their live events are declining, nobody's interested and nobody cares anymore about what AEW is or what it is doing, because there is no value in having 9 dream matches that is nobody's dream, except his and the guys in the back. He is the typical money mark of, hey, I want this show to be fun because I'm paying for it, and this is what I like. Simple as that.
There's rumor going around that WBD announced 60% losses over profit.
Yes.
But there's been no announcement for renewing any TV deal.
Correct.
So there are some people who are speculating that, AEW is going to be up Schitt's Creek there with WBD or WDB, whatever it is. Warner Brothers Discovery. Yeah, WBD. Yeah. But supposedly the WWE deal with WBD is strong and set in stone. What do you think the odds are of AEW losing their TV deal there? Not so much losing it, but having it not renewed.
Right.
And then where do you think they would have to go from there?
Where do you go from there is the question, because when I heard about that and started reading about Warner Brothers Discovery losing money, I immediately thought to how TNA went from Spike. Did they go to I can't remember what Discovery, or they went to a lesser television network, right? And then it went to Pop, and it felt like it was like a slow decline for them. and then now they are where they are. But yeah, definitely is not good. Obviously, I don't know where they would go because they don't have strong. I mean, they have numbers, but are they strong? No. But you're comparing the numbers to WWE's numbers, which, now that Punk is on Monday Night Raw, the numbers will increase somewhat. And I have a feeling that with Triple H in charge of creative, that they're going to keep those numbers going strong. And it's only going to get stronger at this point. Like I was saying before, there's so much interest in WWE now. And we're not even close. I mean, we're close to WrestleMania season, right? But we're not even in it yet, and you're talking about numbers increasing. If they did it right, I feel like Monday Night Raw could be hitting like 3 million by the time we hit WrestleMania. And that's just bad news for AEW all the way around. Tony Khan should, with the money that he has, should do the smart thing and do what Vince McMahon did when he started taking over the wrestling world and just start hiring people that are smarter than him in marketing, TV, advertisement, and stuff like that, and start building the company from the top down instead of just hiring and signing guys to say, hey, I got this guy. He was really good. I love Will Ospreay. I really do. I really wish he would have went to WWE. I think he would have been a megastar in the next 5 years with WWE behind him. But he just signed Will Ospreay because he could and gave him the schedule that he wanted. And, because he sees him as a huge star now, instead of WWE saying, hey, here's what you got to do. You got to do all this. And when you're committed in doing it, we'll make you a megastar, And so it's not good for AEW. Ultimately, they're going to go to a lesser company, a lesser television outlet. And what does that do for 3 shows? Right? Like think about that. They have 3 shows that they're doing on one network. Is another network going to sign them and say, yeah, man, let's give you, what is it, 2, 4, 5 hours, of TV a week in prime time? I mean, they might be one of those, it might turn into like an ECW situation where it's like 3 a.m, on channel 174. Sometimes it's on, sometimes it's not type situation. So
right,
it's not good.
Well, the hits keep coming because apparently it's also being reported that the Mercedes Moné AEW deal is dead. When she gets healthy, she will not be going to work for AEW. Well, Rick, you know what time of year it is. What's that next big WWE pay-per-view that's coming up?
It's Rumble, baby. It's
right.
Rumble time.
Right. What do you think the odds are of seeing the end of Mercedes Moné and the rebirth of Sasha Banks within the next 3 to 4 weeks?
I think it's obviously clearly now it's stronger than ever, right? She's healthy. She's getting healthy. She, if she goes and at least does the Dome on January 4th and, maybe, leaves on good terms with New Japan that way, I definitely think she'll be at the Rumble. Like smart money is that she will be. And why not? Triple H is in charge. I'm sure, like we all know that when Triple H loaded up NXT, the gold brand, black and gold, she was a pillar there for the women's division, which is finding huge success now. So I can totally see her in communication with Triple H. Hey, things are not like they were before, for whatever reason that she had for leaving the first time. I think was creative differences or whatever. Right. That type of stuff is probably not going to happen. Maybe as kind of out of left field as maybe it was. I feel like when Vince was there was a lot of like resetting Raw and SmackDown last minute. At least that's what we were all, led to believe, right? So, if she goes and does the Dome and then comes out of that at the Rumble, she'll be in a very CM Punk type situation where she's probably going to have a little more influence on what she's doing and not doing. And it lines her up for another huge, huge money match at WrestleMania, with whomever, right? I mean, it could be against Becky Lynch or, Bailey or something. Like if it's Bailey who's doing nothing except managing at this point, has Sasha Banks show up, they could run right off and hit it at WrestleMania, and that's a big match, and a good match.
Excuse me. And then, well, before we get to that, they could also do a thing where Bailey gets healed on by Damage Control because now it's all the Japanese girls, and Sasha comes out to be her best friend. But the last piece of terrible news for AEW, have you been following the Kenny Omega saga?
He has that diverticulitis, right?
Yes.
I just saw that maybe yesterday. Sure, I'm not exactly sure what that all entails, but didn't Brock almost die from that stuff? I mean, whatever disease it is,
it's like gastrointestinal. You get like pockets in your digestive tract.
Yeah.
And certain things, if you eat like seeds or what, I mean, I'm sure this is to the lesser extent, but like if you eat seeds or whatever the fuck, they can get stuck in the pockets and it can inflame and burst.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kenny Omega has been diagnosed with that now, and he released a statement saying that he will be out of action indefinitely.
Well, that's gonna, I mean, I don't know. I don't really follow what he does. I know he was doing a thing with Jericho where they were teaming or supposed to team, I guess.
Right.
I mean, I guess with the executive position he holds, he can work from home type thing. So maybe that doesn't affect too much, but it sucks that he's got that. And, I'm not a big Omega fan in AEW. I was a fan of his when he was in New Japan just because the style's different. He worked a different way. But, I mean, as a character, I'm sure their fans are going to be disappointed. Does it really matter? Not really, because, it just messes up one little thing that they were doing, which they were setting up a match for, I think, at the end of December, right? So, of course, you're talking like a 2 or 3 week buildup. Nobody's.
You gotta like. I looked at it like this: when AEW was doing better, right. Yeah. Kenny Omega was their champion.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He doesn't run hundreds of thousands of people off,
right?
Like the Young Bucks do.
Correct.
Right. He was a ratings positive.
Yeah.
For AEW. So now to be losing that at a time where it seems like they really can't afford to lose any type of positive, this is a killer. As much as I don't like Kenny Omega.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I wasn't, a fan either, but yeah, I mean, this is a major hit, I mean, hopefully he's just better in general, but it's, I don't know, man. Like, are we watching the beginnings of the end of AEW?
I would say yes, except for we're both like actively not watching while we watch the beginning of the end of AEW.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, it definitely feels like it's falling apart from all aspects, right?
Yep.
Like they're secure and comforting television deal doesn't seem to be so secure and comforting anymore. the fact that it got out that Warner Brothers Discovery was even talking to WWE is another major hit, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Or that
you
they
know,
put the developmental brand on one of their networks.
yes. And then the decline in live events is ridiculous. Like I feel like, in all honesty, if they stuck with maybe just being what they are, which is, you know, a lesser brand of pro wrestling, and maybe did more like a regional type of, you know, house show or TV tapings at smaller venues. I don't know. Like I don't know
Or just live in
what could
Chicago.
yeah, just set up shop there.
Same.
Uh, you know, I don't know. Like it's just, it definitely feels like the wheels are falling off this, and kind of quick. Like
With his, because let's call a spade here. Kenny Omega is negative promo ability,
correct.
correct? Right? He's like a charisma vacuum.
Yes.
Um, is there even, if he can't work anymore, is there even a benefit to having him on TV in any capacity?
Oh God, no, no, absolutely. First off, you know, the whole old saying of "I can't miss you if you don't go away." You know, uh, I think that's why the Bucks are gone, because they sporadically pop up and they're not getting those pops. So they're like, okay, we'll go away. Of course, they got to announce it instead of just
Right.
going the fuck away. They got to make a whole thing about it. But uh, with Kenny, yeah, absolutely, because he's not a good talker. He doesn't have anything interesting to say. He doesn't know how to sell a match as far as getting people excited for. So what are you going to do? Have him stand next to the guy that you want wrestling and have Kenny talk about the fucking match? Like, don't do that, you know. Just put more Christian on your TV. That'll fix, like that's what we all want to watch. But yeah, I would just definitely have him completely out of the, even when he is better, keep him out and then set it up to where his return maybe rolls into London, and hope that, you know, that pops more numbers for Wembley for them.
Right.
You know, that's what I would look at it that way. I would say, look, man, you're sick, get better. And then when we're ready to bring you in, we're talking maybe 90 days to 60 days out from London, and we'll start to build something major. You know, I wouldn't do Osprey and him again. I wouldn't do anything like that. I would book Osprey to win the AEW world title in Wembley. If you want to get 70,000 in there, I think it has to be the Osprey story. And what I would do is I would somehow get Strickland over as a major heel, uh, or and then have Strickland take it off MJF prior to that, maybe like 4 or 5 months,
Right.
and then have Strickland on an absolute tear, and the only person that can beat him is Osprey, and then have that moment there, or get MJF off this stupid shit that he's doing, and let's get him back to what got him over, and run it all the way into Wembley, and then have that match.
Right.
Either one of those two, Osprey as the face, obviously, and then a heel. I feel like MJF is best suited for that, because he can be what we all want to see him be, and be a real asshole about it. And then the story is he was there the year before. This is why I wanted MJF by himself in the ring as a face at the end of Wembley, and then have him drop it a year later and have like a very historic run
It's
at
Randy Savage WrestleMania 4 into WrestleMania 5.
correct. Exactly. I mean, it's why are we making this more complicated than it needs to be, is the story of pro wrestling now,
Right.
and it's really the story of AEW. I mean, but that's what I would do if you're not going to change MJF and he's not sticking around, which is the rumor. Uh, light Strickland up. He deserves it, and he can do it because he knows the difference between heel and face, and they can go in that direction hard with him, And then you give him a few, and you keep Ospreay moving, periodically, kind of, coming in, having great matches, telling the story. He's on the road to Wembley, blah blah blah. And you just heat that up a couple months before. I mean, it's not that fucking hard.
No. We're gonna switch gears a little bit here. I know there's been a lot of anticipation and build up and curiosity, but it's finally been announced. One of the top releases from the last round of WWE releases has announced his first booking after WWE, and Top Dollar will be working a GCW show in the very near future. I know you were very concerned with the future endeavors of Top Dollar, so I figured I'd throw that in there for you. What do you think, Top Dollar GCW? Good fit?
Yes, very good fit. If there's one place I would, if he has to be somewhere, that would be where I would put him.
Yes.
Thank you, Top Dollar, for keeping pro wrestling strong.
Yep.
It's kind of like when AJ went back to the Indies. Remember, he popped the house for us. Remember, and we appreciate it. This is, well, good for him. That was the one thing I guess I had was all those names. I guess December 21st, right?
Right.
They are free. So obviously, the devil thing and this and that, I would imagine is coming. Yeah, is coming to an end. I would guess at the December AEW show, right? Where it could be Ziggler or Mustafa Ali or, a number of people. I mean, I don't know who it reveals to become, right? So,
well, we know it's not Punk.
Yeah, right. But I mean, yeah, so, that would be another, get for AEW to mess up. So,
well, speaking of messed up, we're going to switch gears yet again off of GCW. I hope you don't have to talk about that on our podcast ever again.
Please don't.
Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
So she'll be out of action for 9 months with a
Yeah.
knee injury. Did you see the spot where she got hurt?
I did not see it. I saw her like sliding back in the ring, and I guess she was like crying. And when the people came in, I tried to like read her lips type thing where she was like saying that she was really hurt really badly or something. It looked, I don't know what happened. Is it an ACL?
I don't know what it is either, but they were like both standing on the top rope and then they fell over and her knees like snapped up against the top rope and like it whipped her back into the ring the other way. It was gnarly looking.
Oh man, that sucks. It sucks because we all know it's WrestleMania season.
Right.
And I just feel like with 2 nights, man, you got to have that would have been a good match to have on one of those days. But that sucks.
Well, to me, though, this feels like that makes the Sasha Banks thing
True.
even more likely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely, because now they need that star power. What they can do with that in 6 months could be really good. But yeah, it sucks. I just saw that she was hurt, and then I think I read the next day or two later that it was like a 9-month absence from the ring, which that's shitty. I wonder if Andrade will be popping in.
Also, though,
I wonder if Andrade will be done with AEW by then, and we get a husband and wife duo comeback.
Yeah,
So
that'd be pretty good. But speaking of
yeah.
comeback, we just got a return of AJ Styles, who the internet is losing their minds because he looks tremendo. And he kills, what the hell's his name? Eli Drake,
Yep.
LA Knight.
LA Knight.
The return of Punk, the return of AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes. Has LA Knight's push been flushed? Let's start here with your thoughts on the return of AJ.
I mean, I don't know if I think a lot of AJ. I feel like AJ Styles was our generation of Shawn Michaels or Ric Flair. He was a needle mover anywhere he went. Yeah, and he looks amazing.
Phenomenal, if you will.
If you will, yeah. But yeah, the LA Knight push it's got to be done for a little bit. Of having the AJ LA Knight match is a cool match. I'd like to see that. That's something that I'm interested in. Again, like with LA Knight, I don't know. I just don't see it. I know that, like you've said a bunch of times, like, oh, listen to that pop. He's getting big reactions. I don't know. He's just like, he really does feel like a ripoff of a lot of older wrestlers, kind of like a blatant ripoff to where we're all ripping everybody else off before us, but I just feel like he's kind of just doing it to a T. Yeah, I'm super glad that AJ's back, obviously for Rumble reasons and WrestleMania. I'm wondering when that's going to happen, though. Maybe Rumble, AJ versus LA. I hope that AJ's a heel and they keep him heel all the way through. But
Right.
he's just another guy, man, that they can plug right into the main event. I mean, we can do AJ versus Orton again because we've had it before, but it was, it's probably only going to be better this time around. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the LA Knight thing, I never saw to begin with. I heard good reactions and everything else, but there was no connection. I didn't get it. What everybody was loving so much. Like, I think he's a good mid-card wrestler. I know he's good on the stick, but not that much better than like Cody and Orton and Roman, and those guys are just at that next level. Like, there's such a far gap, I feel, between like the Romans and Cody's and stuff, that he just wasn't at that level yet. I mean, he could dance with them, but I mean, maybe more of a fast lane main event than a WrestleMania main event for sure.
Right. Right.
Which is great. I mean, I think he's a main event level worker, just not at their level. That's all. Like, but yeah, I'm glad AJ's back. I think he's our generation, Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair. Everything he touches turns to gold type thing. Like yeah, and he looks phenomenal.
Are we right now looking at a top card roster, the level of like 04, 05, you think?
I think so, yeah, because it's the only roster that you can compare to. Like, who is the top guy, right? When there was that battle of like, Cena trying to make it up there and so many guys in front of him and around him,
Right.
That you can, yeah, I mean, which is great considering, well, first off, for WrestleMania purposes, there's 2 days, right? So is it really a knock to be the main event on Saturday if that's going to be the one match everyone's going to see as the best match of the entire weekend?
Right.
You know, kind of goes to the whole Undertaker type thing, I think, like where, you know, there's the main event and then there's the Undertaker match, right? So now you have your Saturday match and then you have your Roman match, I guess you could say. You know, they are your main events. And then underneath, I mean, it's so stacked up top. Like you're talking about each night could have 3 big matches each night. So now you're talking 6 overall matches that are probably going to be stacked with stars. Like you could have shuffled them up or randomly picked them out to be the last match on either night. So I don't know.
You know what's crazy? Like this is the kind of roster that if they were doing one night of WrestleMania,
yeah,
with this kind of roster, they could probably sell out a fucking national park.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because there's going to, with this kind of talent,
yes.
If you only had one night to get into the building,
yeah,
I don't think there would be a building big enough to hold it, which is crazy.
Yeah, I think especially in Philadelphia, so close to New York and, you know, Baltimore and that whole area, I'm pretty sure it'll destroy all records set, like destroy. Like the only problem with that, right, is what do you do next year, you know? And we don't even know if Brock is coming back yet. That's another huge question mark. You know, and I mean, you can heat up a handful of other legends just to get in there and move around, you know, worst case scenario. But yeah, it's deep. So
yeah, there's always the Brock Rock, Austin Cena,
yep,
Undertaker wild card
yes.
that they can throw in to really put this thing over the top.
That's what I'm saying. Like a couple of major face-offs a couple of weeks before WrestleMania could sell you another 20,000 tickets. Like, and they ain't even got to say they're going to wrestle. Someone could just, you know, whisper, I'll see you at WrestleMania, you know, and if Austin's really going to be there, like, point to the, you know, point over there, wait for the fireworks, you know, and then we're fade to black. And there you go. I mean, yeah, I would imagine 80,000 each night sold. For I mean, that's what I'm looking at. I mean, honestly, 80,000, and each night with comps and all that bullshit could be close, obviously, to 100,000. Yeah. I mean, seriously.
All right. So as it stands right now, who's your pick for the Rumble, and what do you got in the main event each night of Mania?
So I don't know who's going to win the men's. I would imagine Cody to challenge Roman.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow we're going to get Punk Seth. Kind of a no-brainer. Cody Roman night 2. I feel like Sasha Banks is going to win the Rumble. All signs are pointing to that.
I planted that seed, watered it, and grew it all in the matter of about 5 minutes.
Yeah. I didn't know that talks were done with her in AEW, but I mean, the smart people are jumping off that ship, that sinking ship now. So she's not going to lock herself in anything stupid. And I know for a fact, you know, I don't know for a fact because I don't know her, but I mean, I met her, but the Triple H thing, I feel like is a big game changer for the WWE in general, with him being in charge of everyone's future.
Right.
So I think that I don't know who she would. I feel like her versus Bayley, because they're like BFFs, would be the match I would like to see at WrestleMania, because I feel like it would be one of those kind of like us wrestling each other type thing. Like Kai's probably gonna knock one of us out, but we're gonna go out and have some fun doing it.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like it would be one of those matches that maybe it doesn't need the belt. So maybe another girl. I'm not even sure.
It'll be a lot of fun until the concussion, and then we'll just figure out all the rest of it afterwards.
Yeah. Just point me in the direction I need to wrestle towards, and we'll see you next week. Yeah, I don't know who I would put to win else but Sasha, because I feel like she's going to end up coming back the biggest star they're going to have, especially with Charlotte out of the picture. How they get to her and Bailey, I don't know how put the belt on Bailey. Like, does Leo Sky turn on her? Becky wins it in Australia, and then we are off to
the races.
The races with them, with obviously Sasha winning at Mania as the baby coming back. I mean, you have all those scenarios. I mean, Punk could win, and then somehow it turns into Cody and Roman somehow, some other way. I don't know. Like, I've
got Punk winning the Rumble.
Do you?
I'm challenging Seth Rollins. I've got Roman and Rock main event night 2. I've got Cody and Gunther for the Intercontinental title.
Okay.
I've got AJ Lee winning the Women's Rumble.
Okay. I didn't even think about that, but it's Bring Your Wife to Work Day at the Rumble.
Yeah.
Okay.
If Edge can do it, Punk can do it.
Oh, amen. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. This is interesting. There's a lot of things up in the air. I honestly think that come January, we're going to start seeing things building to Rock and Roman.
I could see that. Yeah.
That's the real money right there.
Oh, I mean, and you know what, dude? If that does happen, that is Triple H in wrestler mode, stabbing AEW in the fucking heart, like straight up. That's we're up by 60, and Michael Jordan's still in there, in the fourth quarter. That's what that is. We're running the ball down their throats, and we don't even need to.
Yes.
If The Rock is showing up at WrestleMania to wrestle Roman, that is their biggest fuck you to the entire world. That's them saying, "Hey, UFC, try and beat these numbers," type thing.
Right.
It's a competition within their own company.
I'll be on Dynamite on Wednesday, simulcasting to NXT, announcing our acquisition.
Yeah.
Because that's the death shot, man. That's the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, like we all know in the industry how much bigger WWE is. The fans are the ones that argue it, but that's what that would be.
Right, because that's the whole other locker room. That's the AEW locker room. That's those guys looking at each other and going,
"Yeah,
it's time to bail. I'm not renewing. Are you? Let's get the fuck out of here."
Right. That's totally it.
And that's Brian. That's Brian answering his phone in front of Tony Khan and going, "Hang on a second," and walking. "Tony, I'll be right back." That's it. That's it. But that's also that is it for us here tonight, Rick. So you got anything else you want to throw out there before we wrap this thing up?
No, I'm making a prediction now that this year's WrestleMania is going to be ridiculous. And I usually don't get too excited for WrestleManias because a lot of times at this point we can kind of see where we're going. But like you said, with the star power they have, man, they can shake it up whichever way they want to send it out. And it's
all good.
It's all good on so many levels.
All good.
Yeah, it could be Gunther and AJ Styles for the Intercontinental belt. Like, I would like to see that. You know, there's some serious matchups in there that, yeah, man, they are stacked.
It's throwing darts at a sheet of paper with names on it, and everything's
Absolutely.
cool.
Everything's money. So
Yep. All right, man. Well, I think this episode has been money. This has been Podfluxxx episode number 35. We'll catch you next week with 36 because that's how numbers work.
right.
Rick, I'll catch you later. Motherfluxers, we'll catch you on the other side. I'm going to run the gimmick.